5, the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 9th, 2012. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. If all could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing afterwards for an invocation by Councilman Carl Wright. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we each take a moment in our own way to express our love, our appreciation for being here today and the deity of our choice. Thank you.
Nicely done, Councilman Wright. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois. Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Levine. Councilman Prasad. Councilman Regan. Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Okay. We're now on to item 5, and you can pick up copies of the agenda at the clerk's station. Commendations and proclamations. The first is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month proclamation, which I brought up, but Councilman Vasanella has always been very involved with the dog shelter. So if you would like to read that, we shall start. And we have members of Second Chance for Animals here, so if they would come up and receive it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
I'm going to do it if Rajiv isn't here. What?
Okay. Whereas, according to the Humane Society of the United States, anywhere between 6 and 8 million animals enter the shelter system each year, and sadly, an estimated 3 to 4 million of these animals that enter shelters annually are euthanized. And whereas such pet adoption is incredibly important in order to reduce the rates of euthanasia and to provide as many animals with loving homes as possible. And whereas, with this in mind, consider finding your next pet at your local animal shelter in honor of Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. Lasting throughout the month of October, this initiative is dedicated to raising awareness about shelter dogs and the benefits that a rescue animal can provide for both canine and pet parent. And whereas, thanks to the initiatives like Adopt a Shelter Dog Month and increasing awareness regarding the shelter system, pet adoption rates are fortunately on the rise. And now, therefore, I, James Vasanella, on behalf of Mayor Brian Levine and Deputy Mayor Philip Kramer, do hereby proclaim October as Adopt a Shelter Month and encourage everyone in honor of this special month to try using the Franklin Township Animal Shelter to find the right dog for their family and provide a pet a forever loving home. And just let you speak. Say whatever you'd like.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for the proclamation. It is very important that everyone go to the local shelter. Franklin Township Animal Shelter is right across the way here, and do find your favorite new pet at the shelter. It's very important, not only to the lives of the animals, but to your own life. So thanks very much, guys.
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Well, everyone here knows how important animal rescue is to me. Every animal I've had has been a rescue, and these people do tremendous work. I can't walk into the shelter, though I donate, because if I walk in, I will walk out with 100 animals, so.
Come on in.
So thank you for all you do. It is you are all guaranteed to go to heaven.
Oh,
See all of our
what
guys.
power.
Thank you so much.
Ted, would you like to read the Diwali?
Sure. Councilman Chase is going to come read the proclamation for Diwali Day.
Whereas Diwali, a festival of great significance to Indian Americans and South Asian Americans, is celebrated annually by Hindus, Sikhs, and Jains throughout the United States. And whereas there are nearly 2 million Hindus in the United States, approximately 1,250,000 of which are of Indian and South Asian origin. And whereas the word Diwali is a shortened version of the Sanskrit term Deepavali, which means a row of lamps. And whereas Diwali is a festival of lights, during which celebrants light small oil lamps, place them around the home, and pray for health, knowledge, and peace. And whereas celebrants of Diwali believe that rows of lamps symbolize the light within the individual that rids the soul of the darkness of ignorance. And whereas Diwali falls on the last day of the last month in the lunar calendar and is celebrated as a day of thanksgiving and the beginning of the new year for many Hindus, and whereas for Hindus, Diwali is a celebration of the victory of good over evil, and whereas for Sikhs, Diwali is feted as the day that the sixth founding Sikh guru, or revered teacher Guru Hargobind, was released from captivity by the Mughal Emperor Jehangir. And whereas for Jains, Diwali marks the anniversary of the attainment of moksha, or liberation, by Lord Mahavira, the last of the Tirthankaras, who were the great teachers of Jain Dharma at the end of his life in 527 BC. Now, therefore, for Mayor Brian D. Levine and Councilman Rajiv Prasad,
on behalf of the Township Council and the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize November 13th through November 17th as Diwali 2012 in the Township of Franklin, and call upon its residents to observe and celebrate Diwali with various activities and programs to learn about its religious and historical significance. Mr. Chandrakant Desai, a leader of the community, is here to receive it with his wife, Mrs. Chandrakanta Desai. And if the mayor would sign it, we would get and of course, we would be celebrating Navaratri, which is a major festival, and actually it's throughout central New Jersey, and Franklin has the honor of hosting it at our Garden State Exhibit Center. So this Friday, there'll be a lamp lighting ceremony where hopefully the town council and mayor are all invited, so we will all be there for it. So look forward to it. Thank you very much for filling in. Sorry, I got a
I'd
little
known
late.
you were going to be here that
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. So,
You would've waited.
you want to say something, Mr. Desai? Please, go ahead.
Honorable Mayor Brian Levine, Honorable Deputy Mayor Dr. Kramer, and Honorable Councilman Rajiv Prasad, and all the Honorable Council men and women, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for both of us on behalf of the Indian or Indo-American community living in Franklin Township to accept this proclamation for Diwali, which is a very important, auspicious day for we Indian Indo-Americans over here and all over India as well as in the whole world where the Indians are spread over. And it's a day of festival of lights, which is indicating that there is a saying in Sanskrit language, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya. It means, oh God, please bring us from darkness to the light divine, from inside and from inside as well as from outside, everywhere. Let us come over the darkness and proceed towards the light divine. And it's a kind of message for the entire humanity that let all the humanity may have the touch of the light divine, and thereby peace and prosperity may be achieved by the entire humanity on the globe of Earth. So it's a very important event where all the religions, all castes, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, or nationality or race, all the people celebrate in India this particular day. And it's a great honor for our Indian community to accept this particular proclamation from the mayor and the council. And just a kind of little reminder that South Brunswick Township has declared this Diwali as a holiday in the schools. Just a kind of reminder that they have given a kind of recognition like that also. And maybe our mayor may consider if it is appropriate. Okay.
We have to talk
again,
to the
thank you very
Board of
much.
Education.
Yeah, of course. Again, thank you very much on behalf of the Indian community. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, for our last proclamation, this is a secret proclamation, it's not on the agenda. I hope the Open Public Meetings Act doesn't hang us. Actually, if all of council could come up. Mr. Wright? And if we could call up a Ms. Anne Marie McCarthy, who looks like she had some suspicion this might happen. Oh, right.
Just to be technically correct, I'll make a motion to insert this proclamation in the agenda at the present time.
Aye. Franklin Township, Somerset County, Mayor and Township Council, commendation. Whereas Anne Marie McCarthy has served the community of Franklin Township, Somerset County as Township Clerk since January of 2004, and whereas the International Institute of Municipal Clerks has recognized Anne Marie McCarthy for her devotion to the service to the Township of Franklin and the completion of demanding educational requirements, earning Anne Marie the designation of Master Municipal Clerk. And therefore, we, Brian D. Levine, and Deputy Mayor Philip Kramer, and all of the council of the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, and all of its residents congratulate Anne Marie McCarthy, Master Municipal Clerk, for her designated distinguished educational accomplishments and the achievement of this milestone. Actually, I'm interested in what is a master municipal clerk?
It's a designation that's not only here in the United States, but international, and it took me about 10 years to complete. It's the highest designation that a municipal clerk can attain.
Honorable, what do we call her? Mayor Levine, you will now refer to her as master clerk.
Sounds fine to me. Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes, sir. I would like to move we amend the agenda for basically the convenience of staff, or in deference to staff, item, council discussion item, cyber security presentation. Justin Hyman, I've asked him to produce, or to come up here and talk a little bit about cybersecurity and how it affects one at home.
Okay, so the motion is basically move item 11B, council discussion item, cybersecurity presentation, to now. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay, so we're just moving this one item up to now, then we'll continue on the agenda. Mr. Hyman is our IT guru. I'm not sure if that's the official title.
So thank you, Mayor and Council, for giving us a few minutes to educate the public on cybersecurity awareness. A few years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the federal government recognized that cyber infrastructure across the nation became a protected critical resource of all levels of government, and that's around the time when Cybersecurity Awareness Month began. It's a recognition in conjunction with U.S. Homeland Security and the Multi-State Information Sharing Analysis Center, which essentially services all states and levels of government with information regarding threats to cybersecurity. So what the Deputy Mayor had asked is if I could give you some tips for how to stay safe online. From our perspective in the technology field, it's very important that cybersecurity starts with the individual. It's very difficult for us to secure different levels of cybersecurity infrastructure if the individuals who are using it aren't staying safe and aren't doing what they need to do to stay safe online. We can put all the technology in place. Those things aren't attacked anymore. It's really the individual that gets attacked now. Passwords, different things that break down our cyber infrastructure. So some tips for what you can do to stay safe at home and online and in the workplace. The number one thing is keep your systems updated and your antivirus updated. Many times we'll encounter a system that simply just wasn't updated, and that opened it up to a virus or an attack. Be cautious when clicking links. If something seems too good to be true just because it's on your email, just because it came across a website, doesn't mean that it's real. Same common sense that we use in our daily lives, sometimes we forget to use when we're in front of a computer. I'm guilty of it, we're all guilty of it, but we need to remind ourselves that if something's too good to be true, it probably is. Use strong passwords. Things people use in their daily lives is often what becomes their password. Maybe their favorite ice cream is chocolate. I would say to you, use something like, you know, what I have up here, I heart ice cream with some dots and some characters in it. It's a much longer password. It's much harder for computers to guess, as a hacker would use something like that to try to brute force, crack your thing, they'll use every word in the dictionary, and a computer can run that in less than an hour to try to attempt to guess your password. But if you have something like this, it's very hard for a computer to guess it. Obviously, never respond to an email asking for your personal information, and I'm going to talk about some of this stuff in a little bit more. The Multi-State Information Sharing Analysis Center has come up with, along with StaySafeOnline.org, this campaign. It's kind of like the stop, drop, and roll for cybersecurity. It's Stop, Think, Connect. What they're asking you to do is really just what it says. Before you do anything, take a moment, think about what you're about to do online so that you don't compromise yourself or the systems that you're running on. I kind of pose this question when I talk to folks about cybersecurity. If a stranger came to your door and asked you to verify some information saying they're from your bank, would you give them that information across your threshold or your door? Chances are you probably wouldn't. You know, banks don't make house calls these days. So the question then becomes, why is email any different? Why all of a sudden do we get in front of a computer and now we're willing to give that information across to the person on the other end who might be asking for it? So what Stop, Think, Connect really is applying common sense that we use in our daily lives when we're sitting in front of a computer. One of the things that is really prevalent today is identity theft. And I think everyone's a little bit concerned about this with the prevalent amount of information about ourselves on the internet. This has become a very hot topic. So I wanted to kind of provide the public with some tips for protecting themselves. Your username or password are you. If someone gets the username and password and does some sort of act, I know the deputy mayor last council meeting talked about using Wi-Fi and how the owner of the Wi-Fi connection is liable for it. If it's your username and password, you're liable for what's done under that. Okay, so you really need to be careful about protecting those two pieces of information. If somebody gets that username and password, what else is connected to it? Is that the same username and password that you use for Facebook that you use for your bank account? Those things are very important and very critical to protecting yourself. Profile information. Be careful what you put out there. Would you hang a sign on the outside of your door with every last little detail about yourself? Then why would you put it online? You know, it's nice to share information with our friends, it's nice to share information with our colleagues, but we need to be a little bit guarded about how much information we're putting out there because it's so readily available. You know, Facebook and Twitter and all these different levels of social media that we now have are really great, they're really fun, they're useful business tools. However, people have become to overshare. You know, if we check in every 5 minutes and say, now I'm at the Franklin Township Municipal Building, now I'm in Florida, now I'm in Arizona, we begin to put information out there that normally wouldn't be readily available to people to use against us. You know, if somebody knows that you were on vacation last week in Florida, maybe they call up and say, hey, you won a prize from such and such company in Central Florida, and they begin to use that to try to get information out of you. You're lulled into a sense of trust because they now know some pieces of information about you that they wouldn't ordinarily have known. There's some research that was done recently regarding what's called social media chain letters. These are these 30 questions that people post on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, what have you, asking their friends, answer these 30 questions about yourself. What we found was, when the research started to do, is that all 30 of those questions happen to be the 30 most common used words for passwords. Things like, what's your dog's name? What's your favorite color? All those kinds of things. And what directly related was that hackers had started those chain letters for the sole purpose of obtaining passwords of users on social media sites. Do you verify your friendships? It's very easy for folks on social media sites to pretend as though they're someone else. Oftentimes I'll get friend requests on a social media site from two requests from the same individual. Is that second request really that individual, or is it someone who's trying to learn about me to compromise me in one way, shape, or form or another? And it could be that they're trying to compromise me in the real world. They're trying to find out more information about me to then maybe make a phone call and try to get additional information, credit card information, banking information, what have you. So make sure you know who these people are. Make sure you're not just blindly accepting friend requests because it's coming across a computer and you feel like that's trustworthy. Make sure you, again, use real-world common sense when you're sitting behind a computer. And the last but not least is to utilize built-in privacy controls. Most folks kind of disregard who they're sharing this information with. And that's the number one thing, is if you know who has your information, you can protect yourself. If you don't know who has your information, you don't know where your information's going, then you're really at risk. One of the easiest things to do is when you post on Facebook or Twitter is make sure, particularly on Facebook, make sure you know who you're sharing that information with. If that public is checked, that's searchable in Google. That's searchable in Yahoo search. And now whatever information you just put out there is probably showing up in a Google search with your name and your information. You could have just posted, I'm going on vacation for a week to the Caribbean. If you put that as public and somebody does this Google search on your name and that shows up, perhaps somebody who wanted to compromise your house now knows that you're gone for the next week. The point of all this information and the point of protecting yourselves from identity theft is these things aren't just mouse clicks. You really need to think about what we're doing. So do you have payment information on social media sites? If you do, and you don't protect that username and password, somebody now has your credit card information. Okay, if you use the same username and password for social media as you do for email, as you do for banking, all it takes is somebody to get that one username and password. They basically have taken control of your life. Okay, so that's why we stress really it's very, very important to use different passwords for different things. And what I would say to simplify that, because when we overcomplicate this for folks, people just kind of turn the other way and just use one password for everything. All the important things, make sure they have a unique password. Your banking information, your credit card information, all of that stuff. If you want to use one, it's okay. If you want to use one password for all the unimportant stuff that doesn't have links to financial information or anything, that's fine too. There. But that's perhaps the simplest way to do it. All right? All the important stuff needs its own password, everything else can have another. And last but not least, we wanted to leave you with some resources. Again, this was a quick tutorial. The Deputy Mayor had asked me just to kind of give a short snippet of how to protect yourselves. What we intend to do is on FTTV for the month of October, provide additional cybersecurity tips for the residents of the township. These are some other resources that the federal government and public and private partnerships have put together. StaySafeOnline.org is a great one. Has a number of information for educating both kids and adults on how to stay safe online. New Jersey state government for a number of years has had this website at NJ InfoSecure. They have put out not only information about what the state New Jersey is doing to protect critical infrastructure, but what you can do to protect it at home. Stop Think Connect is another one. This presentation and some other resources by the end of the week should be online at our website. The other thing that Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center has done is attempted to educate people by making them take this cyber pledge. What they're asking to do is try to see how many citizens in a given jurisdiction will take this cyber pledge. So we're encouraging everybody to go to that web address and read the cyber pledge, and it's really simple way to remind yourself how to stay safe when you're surfing the internet, when you're using computer systems. And if you go ahead and do that and just say where you're from, and again on our channel. So hopefully that was some brief information to remind yourselves to stay safe online. MSISAC did provide some printed materials that are free to take. There's some bookmarks and a few calendars that they provided for us. They're over by the clerk if anyone would like them. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. We are now going back to the regular agenda. We're at item number 6, the mayor's report. And I just ran in here from a state red tape review commission, so didn't get to grab my mug of the month and list everything out as I usually do. But just a couple things. Last weekend we had a successful event Against Sisters Network. They're a group with breast cancer survivors, mostly African American. Again, they had their event at the high school. High awareness, high help, very good. That was, we're glad to be the host of that organization, which runs statewide. I suspect the deputy mayor is going to talk about Canal Fest, so I'll leave that. Coming up, good old Marconi Foundation has their event on the 12th, and as Councilman Prasad said, Navratri is, I think it runs for 2 weekends.
Yes.
Starting this one, Friday and Saturday, at our convention center, open to everyone, an extremely modest entry fee. It's like very minimal
Right.
thing. Okay. And a good time, usually a little later. Take a look. Many of us will be there. Also, coming weekend, the 12th and 13th, a couple of our firehouses, Somerset Fire and Rescue, Griggstown are going to have their open houses, as did Millstone and Middlebush last weekend. And we're coming up in the next month on Election Day. Slight change, the Board of Ed elections will be in November this year in a nonpartisan section of the ballot. Please look to that. Please consider your candidates, and please go vote. That's that way you can have a say in what's happening. And that concludes the mayor's report. So we go to item number 7, deputy mayor's report. So Deputy Mayor Phil Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, if you missed the Canal Fest, you missed a great time. A lot of food, a lot of vendors, and a lot of music. People enjoyed it. It's always hard to estimate turnout at these things because it's so long and people come and go. It was also physically larger this time, so it's hard to compare the densities, but I believe more people were there. We got, or the food bank took in more money. They didn't make more money because they made some investments, for instance, tents and things that will be able to be used in years later on, but they did take in more money. Congressman Holt was there, the mayor was there, Councilwoman Sherman, Councilman Prasad, and Councilman Chase were the council people I noted. Oh, and I believe Councilman Regan came through too. So, so well attended, and probably next month I'll start announcing next year's Canal Fest. And since we gave the proclamation for Adopt a Pet, I'll include it in this rather than in my council comments. If the videographer can show the screen. Meet Sophie, this beautiful brindle and white spayed male pit bull mix is 2 years old and came to us as a stray. She is sweet, social, and fun-loving, especially enjoying petting and walking. She is a strong girl who will do best with a dog-experienced family that can teach her a few manners. She tends to jump up on people for attention and pull up the lead, but she loves attention so much that she would prefer not to share her family with other animals. She'd probably be best with a family with children over 15. She has lots of love to give, and she just needs to meet the right family. And it's true. Many people are afraid of pit bulls. It is not the breed. It is how they are raised. So please save a life and come to the animal shelter and adopt a pet. And I believe that's all I had, other than the mayor mentioned Marconi, which will be Friday night at 7 at the Toucan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're back to our agenda. And so, the agendas usually are available about the weekend before on our website. Just go in there, download it. You can also see associated resolutions and ordinances. There are some here. For anyone who's here, feel free to get up at any time and take a look at what's happening. Send us comments, call us, etc. Any of us on items you think are of concern on the agenda, and certainly you can come here and speak about them too. All of us welcome the public comment. Our meetings are generally the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. Exceptions will be in November, when it will be the second Thursday, I think, because that coincides with Election Day. Am I thinking right?
Right.
It's November 6th.
Okay. Okay. Right. November, no, it's not Election
Meeting
Day.
is
Okay.
the 8th.
But in November, it'll be the 8th instead of the 13th, which is the second Thursday instead of the second Tuesday. And then December, there's only one meeting. It's for the second Tuesday, not on the final Tuesday of the month. So now we're coming to item number 8, public discussion. This will be the only time in the meeting for you to get up and speak whatever on your mind, and anything is fine. I'll give you our policy in just a moment. So is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Now, when I ask If you want to speak, we're glad to hear what you have to say. Raise your hand, I'll call on you, come to the podium. Please note our audio and video recordings are going. And as is our policy, everyone will have 5 minutes to speak. And it's being timed. When you hear a tone goes off, that means you have 2 minutes remaining. And when you hear multiple tones, your 5 minutes has elapsed, and I'll ask you to wrap up your thoughts. Please, when you come up, state your name and address. Address all your remarks to the council, and if we can answer anything at this point, we will. If we can't, we'll have someone get back to you. So the meeting is now open for public discussion on any item of interest. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, come to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
Seeing no one come forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Okay, moved in. Anyone wanted to speak? Oh, no, going that way. Okay. All right. Moved. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, come on. Okay. You'll hold that motion, right? Right, okay. And when you come up, so we hear your best audio, keep yourself about 3 or 4 inches from the microphone and speak right into it. We'll do it. We'll get you clearly that way.
Mr. Mayor, good evening. Deputy Mayor, Councilwoman and man, good evening. I'm here tonight with my
Keep
name
yourself in front. And your name and address, please.
Michael Mestolo, 46 Amethyst Way, Franklin Park, New Jersey, 08843.
Thanks.
23. Tonight I'm here with members of trustees of Society Hill number 6. They got a little bit shy, the microphone. And basically we're having a little problem with break-ins. And some folks in the neighborhood that apparently are carrying out illegal activities. So we came here to ask for support, because apparently it's going on for a while. Our community manager have facing some problems, and tires have been slashed, and we have suspicions that's coming from this particular address. And we'd like to have the support of the local police to go and see if there is anything they can do, because the other neighbors are really concerned about it, and when come to matters like this, people get a little bit afraid to talk and to point out who these folks are. So if we can have your support or someone that can take a look into this matter, we really appreciate it. Thanks very much for your time.
Okay. No, if you're concerned about public safety, it's something we're all concerned about. Ms. Vieira, do you want him, can he contact you to let you know his thoughts and you can speak to?
Certainly, and I can talk to our chief of police, and he can certainly come and do a community meeting for all your residents if you're interested. But why don't you give me a call tomorrow and we can set up something that we can all talk.
Much appreciated.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You see her name there. Call Ms. Vieira in the morning.
My extension is 6231.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and thank you. We appreciate it. We'll be kept posted on that. Anyone else who wanted to speak? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I would push the deputy mayor's formal comments of no one coming forward.
Seconded.
I never made that
Who
motion.
made that motion?
I don't know.
Oh, someone,
Oh, no.
Councilman Vasanella, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Councilman
It's
Vasanella.
okay.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Okay, public discussion is closed for this meeting. Thank you very much. Next, we have item number 8, standing committees. And let's see, I'll try and, if I miss any, let me know. Guess we'll start with administration. Does anyone want to do that one?
There's going to be a meeting this
Councilman
Thursday,
Sherman? Yeah.
Mayor, so we will have a report ready for the next council meeting.
Okay. And Public Works? Actually, Councilman Vasanel?
No, that's Councilman Chase.
Oh, Councilman Chase? Pardon me.
I think I reported on the last meeting we've had. At our last meeting, we have another meeting that's just been scheduled for October 31st, so it'll be till the November 8th meeting before I can report on that. And I will say that the repaving of Copper Mine Road is proceeding. I think what they've done is take off the old surface, and they're about to begin putting on the new surface.
Okay, thank you. And Finance, Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes, thank you. Two items were discussed that can be discussed in public. The others were personnel-ish. Not ish, personnel. One was we have a model of the budget and the finances of the township over the next several years. And we are still using surplus to keep the budget balanced. So that means we are burning into our bank account. We have, and these things are all estimates. So you cannot come up with a precise time, but it looks like we have approximately 5 years of money left. Now, that sounds, at least to me, that sounds very bad, but all of our financial consultants say how wonderfully we are doing compared to other towns in the state. So I guess I'm supposed to be happy. However, the Financial Oversight Committee, as does all of council, is still diligent and trying to bring down our expenses so that we do not run out of money. The difficulty is we have cut the budget so lean that we now begin to cut into services, and we have to be very careful of which services we want to cut into to minimally affect people. We are also thinking of other revenues besides taxes that may help and slow that. If we were to cut the drain in half, then that would mean we would have, according to this model, 10 years. So we are endeavoring to do that. The other item that came up was the sewage authority, which is a separate authority. Sewer is a distinct form of government besides the council, though council appoints the people on the sewage authority. That's mainly our only connection. In light of what I just mentioned about the finances, a way of saving money for the township would be to combine some of the capabilities of the sewage authority with ours. This may be a significant savings to the town and stretch that out, that timeline out further. So we requested that the manager ask the township attorney, whose firm is experienced in this, to present a protocol for how to investigate this. So let's be clear. We are not moving on this. We are not taking an action here. We are not taking over or ending the sewage authority. We are figuring out the proper way to study it, including bringing it to the public so we can hear from the public pros and cons of this, as well as our own investigation. But that is where we stand with that. And those are the only two items I recall that we can discuss in public.
Okay, thank you. And next we have Public Safety. Councilman Vasanella?
We actually had a meeting today, and just give the highlights. Some of it's pending some more research information. We will probably be doing some minor amendments to our taxi cab and limo ordinance in the coming months. Also, our dog and cat licensing ordinance, simply there's some technicalities such as we're not allowed by state law, I believe, to exempt dogs on farms from licenses the way we can cats, and if you're an indoor dog, you don't need a license. We don't have, certain state statutes supersede some of the wording of our ordinance, so we'll probably be making some slight amendments to that in the upcoming months. We also had a thorough report by Sergeant Hagman relevant to some traffic issues on Magnolia Road. We are looking at a couple of options, and as soon as they're firmly decided, we will bring them to the rest of council, and hopefully they will be implemented. But in general, there has been, let's just say, a higher level of enforcement, and it seems from the statistics that people in general are going a little bit slower. But we are still looking at long-term options to keep it that way and keep it getting better. There's also a no parking ordinance for Susan Drive, which we are looking at rescinding based on some research by our police department. Again, coming forward in the next few months via ordinances to all of council. One of the major items to hopefully initiate some better safety in the area off of Hamilton Street, Brookline, Ambrose, Home Street, that area close to New Brunswick, a lot of side streets with intersecting little connector streets that do not have, all have stop signs and yield signs the way that they, at least we feel best should have them. The police department will be forwarding ordinances to council relevant to the committee's work on trying to get more signage designated in that area. So again, another ordinance coming forward. And we are also reapproaching some of the security issues relevant to our pocket parks throughout our township, especially in the 4th and 5th Ward. There's a couple in the 2nd Ward. We'd like to beef up the security. Some research has been done. There was some time that it's set aside. We are now looking to get proactive with that, and hopefully we'll have some major initiatives to bring to the rest of council in the coming months. And that's general summary, Mayor. There'll be more details to follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, may I just add one thing,
Councilwoman
please?
Sherman?
Thank you.
Please.
Magnolia Road is the borderline of two wards. One side of it is the 2nd Ward, which is my ward. The other side of the street is the 3rd Ward, which is Councilman Kramer's ward. We're going to be setting up a meeting with the residents of Magnolia Road to meet with us and the police and the gentleman that put together that report to review the issues. This has been a long-term problem. It's one of those cut-through streets between JFK and DeMott, and there is a lot of speeding on that street. It's been controlled with a large amount of enforcement, but that can't go on all the time. So we have to look for other remedies. So we're going to be going out to the residents, providing them with information about a date for a meeting, probably here in the council chambers, so the residents can understand what we can do and what we can't do. So I just wanted to let anyone who's watching who lives on Magnolia Road to know that you'll be hearing from us soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And just,
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Magnolia Road has the great advantage of actually being in 3 wards.
Except there's no house on.
No, there are houses in the 4th Ward, because I graciously gave the 25th district to Councilman Wright. The census had a little bit to do with that. So there's, I'm guessing, 5 or 6 houses.
On Magnolia, that's in the 4th Ward?
On the very end of Magnolia.
I didn't
towards,
know that. Okay.
out-
Well, welcome to the meeting.
I'm on board.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And the last of our standing committees is Land Use, Open Space, Parks, and Recreation. Councilman Wright?
No report at this time, Mayor. We do have a meeting coming up where we expect a whole lot of activity from
Okay.
the summer.
All right, good. Now we come to item 10, council comments. So I guess we'll start here. Councilman James Massanella?
Okay, well, it's relevant to the one comment brought forward by the public. Sounds like you'll be speaking with, or somebody will be looking in via the manager to the situation, and maybe to residents will feel more comfortable speaking in private, but we definitely are concerned about that issue, any safety issue. Just in general, Mayor, did attend a flood commission meeting, of which Franklin is a relevant player, partner in it. Councilman Chase, myself, or one of our engineers, and John Clyde are all members. Just the main thing to report, I mean, quite frankly, it's such a long bureaucratic process involving the federal government and state government. It's a nightmare, put it bluntly, but there has been progress, and all the towns getting together, working together in this commission has definitely already shown some results just in the fact of getting more information to residents. The main thing to report there is 4 times of the year they are going out to other locations. Right now, most of the meetings we're having are in Manville at the Manville Courthouse, or they're basically their municipal building, to get out to the other townships, the other towns involved throughout the county. They're doing these meetings. So I asked the chairman if, upon, of course, approval, working out the logistics with our administration, if Franklin could be one of those host towns. They thought that was an excellent idea, and I think, God, from what I saw, some emails already, they've worked it out with administration. So it looks like the February meeting of this commission will be held in these council chambers, hopefully, and also televised, so people can get an idea in Franklin. Although a lot of people aren't affected by it directly, 3/4 of our town, more or less, is bordered by the Millstone Raritan River and canal system that, unfortunately, can cause a lot of damage and a lot of dangerous situations and flooding, of course. But that meeting you'll hear more about as soon as the logistics are worked out. But hopefully people will come out and ask questions and be part of that, or watch it from home. That's pretty much it, Mayor. Hamilton Street is moving along. Their sidewalk program is finished. Their sidewalk repair program, we finally got the sidewalks up to speed using leftover grant money. And the one thing that will be coming to council relevant to Hamilton Street is, now that the bus stops have been approved via ordinance by this town and implemented between the county, the bus company, and this town, we now want to move to the second phase, and that's having bus shelters, new, improved, nice-looking bus shelters in the 3 stops on Hamilton Street, and also have some revenues for the Hamilton Board from the advertising that come along with those bus shelters. There's an ordinance that needs to be changed in our township relevant to the allowing for those certain size advertisements. So rest of council hopefully will see that soon, and we will start generating some revenue and see nicer bus shelters on Hamilton Street. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to express my appreciation for training I recently received on the incident command system. The training was held at the county facility in Hillsborough. It was quite a lot of information in a very short period of time, but the thing that came out of it that really impressed me was the comment made that chance favors the prepared mind. So it's very important that communities be prepared for emergency situations, and ours certainly is. We do have an emergency operations center, which is located at the police department. So when there are situations like hurricanes or other events, they swing into action right away, flooding, whatever happens. And it is important that council people understand all of this, because legally we do have some obligations. So it's an important subject for us to know about, and it's good for us to share that information with the township, so you can feel comfortable that we are prepared. We will be ready for things when they come, but the more we know, the better off we are. I would like to congratulate the Senior Advisory Committee, to which I am the liaison from the council. This group of people has spent an enormous amount of time and energy putting together book bags for our students here in Franklin Township. They, in the past, have supported other drives, for instance, the United Way, until they realized and learned that those book bags not are not focused just on Franklin. Once they realized that they were sending those book bags to other communities as well as Franklin, they decided to do their own. And they're a wonderful group of people. I get a lot of pleasure out of working with them. They went to the supermarkets, they went to the office supply places, and they got donations, and they did a wonderful job. They put together 100 book bags and were able to distribute them to children in need in only the Franklin school system. So bravo to our senior advisory committee for what it is that they've done. A little update with regard to the Franklin Township Cultural Arts Committee. We will be having poetry reading starting this Saturday. The first poet that will be reading will be Paul Muldoon, who is a Pulitzer Prize poet, happens to live right here in Franklin Township. So if anyone is interested in any of the tickets, you can check us out on Facebook, and you can find out how you can get tickets for this series of poetry readings. There will be 4 of them all together on different dates during October. And I think one will go into November, but they're inexpensive, but they're really, it's a delight. These are mostly Franklin people, so it's wonderful to participate in something like that. The other event we are now planning is a holiday event, which will be at the community center. We're going to honor all the various holiday events coming up around December, and more information will come from our Performing Arts Committee as we know more about it. The other issue, there is a luncheon this coming Saturday. It is the NAACP 38th Annual Freedom Fund Lunch, which will be held at the First Baptist Church of Lincoln Garden on Somerset Street, and they'll be recognizing quite a few township residents for their accomplishments, and bravo to all of those people. I think that covers all of my issues, Mr. Mayor, so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Carl Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be short of quick with this. I'd like to thank the Sisters Network of Central Jersey. I believe you were there earlier in the morning for the walkathon. Their organization is a breast cancer survivorship and awareness group, and Ms. Reed will be here at our next meeting to inform the residents on breast cancer awareness and to receive a little proclamation that goes along with it. Also, I did the Renaissance Credit Union Bike-a-thon, which was a bike race in Franklin Township. Oh, excuse me, it wasn't a bike race technically. It was a bike-a-thon, and we raised money for needy organizations here in Franklin. And as Councilman Sherman just said, the NAACP at First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens, well, the credit union is attached to them, and we were raising money for needy groups there. And that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Ted Chase.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Marola and the group from Society Hill 6 for coming forward. Occasionally I've heard vague rumors about gangs in the Franklin Park area, but it takes somebody coming forward who will really give some details to the police to get something done. We certainly want to clear up any such problems and put the police to work on following up on any information that you have. And I might say to residents in general, you can even call in information anonymously to the police. Do we have a special line for that, Donna?
Yes, we do have a tip line.
1-877.
Tip.
It's on the website.
I think I do.
It's on the website.
It's on the website.
Dr. Chase.
Yeah.
I
So-
can for in a second.
Any problems like that we want to get dealt with. I attended they have them about every 3 months, planning breakfast at the county planning board, and I think the most significant thing was that when they asked for comments from, what's going on in the various towns, I reported on our problems with trying to preserve the Franklin Inn despite the fact that there is chemical contamination on the property, and Bob Bezick, the head of the director of planning, said he could set up a meeting for us with representatives of the DEP and the Brownfields office. I wouldn't raise my hopes too far, particularly because I know the Brownfields office does not often have money. I talked with someone from them last year at the League of Municipalities, and he thought it was interesting cleanup to protect a historic resource, but they didn't have any money at that time. However, certainly having such a meeting is a step forward, and we go that far, we'll see what else can be done. Another project that the DNR Canal Watch organization is working on, and they raised money to have a study done of the Griggstown Lock with a thought to eventually converting this to a working lock that one can demonstrate how the locks worked on the canal when it was a working canal. Now, of course, there will have to be much greater grant fundraising to raise the money to actually carry this out, but at least the possibility is there. And I thought I should tell the township about that. From time to time, I inquire about the bridge over the canal at the end of DeMott Lane, which was carried away in Hurricane Irene. I'm told that the contract has been let to replace this bridge, so I hope it won't be too long before we once again can access the canal towpath at that point. So that's all I can think of. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Deputy Mayor Kramer talked about the Canal Fest. One suggestion was that we may want to consider a wine tasting in an enclosed area, but it is so popular that you're going to have to make provisions for additional parking, and you'll have sellout crowds. So that's just a suggestion. The Marconi Foundation dinner is this Friday at 7 p.m. Wanted to point out that our own CFO, Van Corona, is going to get honored by them, and so whoever can should try and be there. Navratri is also on Friday night at 9 o'clock, so it's going to be a busy night. And voter registration deadline is on October 16th. So if you are not registered or need to get registered, please do get registered. And, of course, go out and vote on November 6th. And the Human Relations Commission hosted the principal and the assistant superintendent, and it was a good meeting, and it was a good dialogue that was established. And, other than that, happy Dussehra and Diwali to all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Phil Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to yield a brief moment to Councilman Wright, who forgot to mention something.
I forgot to mention that on November the 1st, which is a Thursday, 7:30 in the morning until 10:30 in the morning, and then again at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Sisters Network of Central New Jersey, Inc. headquarters at 1201 Hamilton Street in Somerset, New Jersey. They will be holding an open house reception for everyone in town. So this is your opportunity to come to find out what is involved with the Sisters Network and to arrange information, the exchange of information that will go a long way into helping someone that you love. Now, you do need to RSVP by October the 18th, and that number is 732-246-8300, or you can email at sistercentral@sncnj.org. That part I forgot to bring up. And also, this Saturday, if you have nothing to do and you want to come down to Middlebush Park, we will be cutting ribbon at Middlebush Park. They will be having a soccer tournament there. It lasts all day, all night. But we will be there in the morning to say rah-rah to everyone at the soccer central. And please come on out. There'll be balloons and everything else, and we'll have a good time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, pardon me, Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Just briefly, thank you for your suggestion, Councilman Prasad, and through the wonders of the internet, I just sent that to the Canal Fest committee, and now it's off my plate. And I just want to acknowledge the people who came from Society Hill. We take these matters very seriously, and I agree with Councilman Chase, and this is to everyone who is watching. You have a problem, let us know, because otherwise we have no way of reacting to it. We're happy to react to it. That's why we're here. So thank you all for coming in and taking your time to help us help you. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Now, I reiterate, we appreciate bringing anything to our attention. I have no further comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Councilwoman Sherman.
Thank you. I did skip one thing. It was in the paper today. I thought the gentleman being honored is from Franklin, and I thought we'd mention it here. His name is, he's a research professor, Reginald Farrow, with the New Jersey Institute of Technology. And he has won the NJIT Board of Overseers Excellence in Research Prize and medal, and a $10,000 prize. And what he has done, this extraordinary gentleman, he's an expert in biophysics, and he's invented a probe that uses carbon nanotubes to allow small parts of a cell to be singled out for study with multiple probes. I can't even fathom what that all means, the complexity of it, but he lives here in Franklin, and we have some extraordinary citizens who live here. And this one was right on the front page of the Home News this morning, so I thought we should recognize him. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Councilman Wright?
My son attends NJIT, and that's a cutting-edge school up there, money-wise and everything else-wise. It's a good school.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So now we are at item number 11 on the agenda, council discussion items. So 11A, acknowledgement of best practices submission. The state of New Jersey gives us a list of best practices that has been distributed to all of us in our packet, and we're acknowledging that we received it, and all of us will please read it. So we go on to then item B, cybersecurity presentation, which was done earlier, which leaves us with the final council discussion item, menorah. Councilwoman.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should have asked to have that removed from the agenda, which I will ask be done at this point. There appears to be some change in the way it will be done for this year, and it may not need council approval or council discussion. So unless it changes, I would just say we have nothing to discuss on it at this moment.
Okay, so it'll come off at this point. So next we have item number 12, approval of minutes. We were given, the council, to executive session of September 11th, 2012, special meeting September 22nd, 2012, executive session September 22nd, 2012, work session regular meeting September 24th, 2012, special meeting September 29th, 2012, and executive session September 29th, 2012. And those special meetings had to do with the council's search for township managers. So is there a motion for approval of the aforementioned minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on approval of the minutes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes for A and E. I was not there for B, C, and D.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes for B, C, D, and E. Letter A, abstain.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we have item number 13, approval of the warrants. The warrants are the bills that we pay. So warrants in the amount of $3,494,108.95 on October 9th, 2012 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion to pay the warrants as read?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on payment of the warrants.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have item number 14, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. How ordinances generally work, we vote on an ordinance, and if it passes, generally, the next one or two meetings, it's voted on a second time. At that second meeting, there's a public hearing, meaning anyone can come up and speak on that ordinance and give us his or her opinion. And if it's passed that second time, then the ordinance goes into law. So there are none second reading ordinances for today. And item 15, 15A, ordinances on introduction and first reading. We have one of those. This is one of the first meetings. This is the first reading. We only have one today. It's an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 260, Parks and Recreation, add a new Article 9, Synthetic Turf Fields, Section 260-42, Regulations. This has to do with particular regulations regarding turf fields and some things which are prohibited on them. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Monday, October 23rd, 2012, at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Municipal Complex. Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, pardon me. Deputy Mayor Kramer.
So one thing perhaps significant, the other thing perhaps not. There's no mention here of motorized vehicles and not allowing them on there.
I think generally prohibited in the parks already, I believe.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Excellent. And then this is probably minor, but it's grammatically incorrect. It says to preserve the quality of the turf field and provide a clean and healthy environment, the following are not allowed on the synthetic turf field, and it talks about glass, littering, all those are appropriate, but then the last two, O and P, so things that are not allowed, only players, coaches, and officials are permitted on the turf field, and another thing, quote-unquote, not allowed, do not pick up or pull glass fibers. I only mention it because I know the Supreme Court has sometimes argued about a comma. Does it matter? Should we reword it, or no, it's clear what it's saying?
I think we could probably, sorry. I think we could probably just correct it as a typo, and I understand what your point is, but I think we can just correct it at second reading, and it wouldn't be a major change, because we're not going to change the intent of it, we're just going to correct the grammar.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Chase?
I had a question there. Item L there simply says golf. I think it should be a little more explicit. Oh, we could say golf clubs, golf balls, and the hitting of golf balls. All of the, at least the hitting of golf balls, all of it should be prohibited. But just saying golf is a little unclear.
Councilman I'm sorry.
Councilman Wright?
Councilman Chase, you're absolutely correct. But when we were looking at what you couldn't play on there,
Well, correct.
we just said golf, and I guess it was just everything that was associated with golf. So if we did have to change, I would ask our esteemed council, would that be a problem?
No, once again, I think that if we can introduce the ordinance in the current form, and since we're not making a substantive change, we could adopt it at the next meeting and we could have this corrective language. That's not a problem.
Not a problem.
I understand what the purpose is, and I understand.
Thank you, Councilman Chase.
Okay.
Uh,
Councilman
question
Vasanella?
This is the list here. And I mean, I guess there's a reason why we would not allow these, but I mean, spitting? Is that, I mean, we're going to be out there, kids by way of football and soccer and all these other sports, by way of physiological necessity, not that I'm a doctor. But is that, I mean, is this just like a boilerplate, or is there a particular reason? Things like that are on there? And then I assume cleats, we're using plastic cleats, right? It's no metal cleats or spikes for the kids playing the sports. I assume that means we'll use plastic cleats. Do you still use cleats on turf, synthetic turf?
Item G says that metal cleat spikes or high-heeled shoes are prohibited.
Right.
So plastic cleats, I guess, would be allowed.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, just want to clarify, because I know.
Yeah, and also in regards to the spitting, these were rules, when you say boilerplate, the Rec Commission and our Rec Director spoke to many other communities that have turf fields, and spitting actually harms the turf, and that's why it's prohibited.
So I'm guessing you could walk to the side, spit on the grass, but not
Yeah,
on the
and
turf.
No, I'm not trying to nitpick, but we do, this says on the field, so like the sidelines, I guess, is a little bit more lenient of environment, like when kids are on the sidelines of the field, if they have to put on sunscreen or something, then it's allowed on the outskirts.
Is specifically while standing on the turf field, all of these.
Protect the actual playing area.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good point, though, to clarify. That's just the.
Yeah, just make sure, because obviously some of these things are unavoidable, so on the field itself. Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And some of the items, again, turf field, smoking, glass, objects like that, just to kind of protect that.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on item 15A for introduction of ordinance 3992-12, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and more yes.
Okay, motion is carried. So next we have item 16, our consent agenda, items A through Z. And our consent agenda is items of a generally routine nature that can be voted on in one vote. If any council person wants anything for a separate discussion or vote, that is his or her prerogative, and we would do that. So the items 16A through Z, as listed on consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there discussion, motion for the consent agenda?
Motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded.
Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Kramer.
Yes, just, I wanted to point out item I. There is an opening on the Municipal Ethics Board. I'm announcing this to the public. The way the Municipal Ethics Board works, there can be no more than 3 members of each of any of the major parties, so no more than, there's a total of 6 members, no more than 3 Democrats, no more than 3 Republicans. There is 1 independent and 2 Democrats on there. And the person resigning, which is item I, is a Democrat. So there is an opening for a Democrat. So please let us know if you are interested.
Or an independent would qualify also, Deputy Mayor.
Correct.
In theory, yes,
Okay. Anything else on the consent agenda?
according to this.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on the consent agenda.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. We have number 17, items, resolutions voted on separately. That's usually something that was put on the agenda late, or if a council person has a conflict, they might put it there. There are none of those. Item 18, old business, boards and commission appointments. Any item here? Okay, so now we come to item number 19, executive session, and we have, bear with me. We have a resolution for executive session. Okay, executive session is when the council meets privately. There's only certain circumstances where we can do that, such as personnel matters or litigation or attorney-client privilege. And when the subject, we passed some minutes earlier with executive sessions. When the subject of that executive session no longer needs to be private, the minutes will be made public. So we have Resolution 12-496 is our executive session resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution calling for executive session for the item listed in the resolution as follows? Personnel matter, township manager search. The motion for that?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, Madam Master Clerk, is it called? Please poll the council on the resolution for executive session.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. We're now going to go into executive session to discuss that item of, to discuss the item of township manager. After we come out of executive session, there's only going to be 2 things done. We're going to vote to come out of executive session. There'll be no action of any other kind, and we'll just move to adjourn. So at this point, we'll end our taping because there's nothing else to do. And we appreciate everyone coming here to see us and watching.
Thank you.